Okay, hello and welcome. So by popular demand, we're going to be benchmarking some esports games here on this RTX 5050 featured in the Lenovo LOQ 15 new for 2025. And let's see what kind of performance we can get here in CSGO. Let's get our... Nice try, bro. Oh, come on. You'll have to excuse my terrible aiming there. Oh, what? Ooh, sniper rifle. Yeah, so we can see here that we're running at about 30 watts on the RTX 5050 in the LOQ 15, and at about 100 and what 40 FPS. It's varying quite a bit, 115 to 150 watts. I think this game might benefit actually from the custom mode and the performance tuning to give more power to the CPU. Okay, so about 146 FPS. Let's check our settings. So we're playing at the 1080p resolution and we've got 144 Hz display on board here on the LOQ 15. If we go into the advanced video settings, I've disabled VSync. And if we look at the current video preset, we've got it set to custom only because we went to the low preset and then we disabled fidelity effects. 130 FPS is not exactly mind-blowing here for a 5050. It's okay, certainly playable, but if you're a competitive player or if you play esports mainly, you probably want to have north of 200, I guess, or as high as you can. North of 300, 400 frames per second. I don't know, considering you can have 500 Hz displays. Let's go to the highest preset just for kicks and giggles. We'll still leave fidelity effects as disabled. Doesn't look like there's much difference actually. We're still running at about 120 FPS, so not much change at all. Getting 44 watts out of that RTX 5050. Whoa, right in the face. Okay, so we can see here at medium, we're getting about 150 FPS. I'd say that's probably the preferable way to play. So 44 watts, about 100 FPS. It's certainly playable. You're maxing out the screen, the high refresh rate of this particular display at 144 Hz. Mind you, that's not exactly mind-blowing by 2025 standards. We'll go into the custom mode here, and let's see if we can crank up that CPU. So click on this, you'll get the settings for Legion Space. And our processor targets, let's go to extreme mode. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So this should be able to push some crazy wattages, I hope. So basically, by default, the performance mode seems tuned to play very quiet rather than give you the best performance. There we go. That's a lot better than I would have expected. So now we're getting well above, or close to and well above 150 FPS. We're definitely beyond the max refresh rate of this display. So if we're looking at maxing out 144 Hz, this mode will certainly do it. You need to play in the extreme mode, and I can sense the heat starting to build up now. Right, so we can see here that we're actually getting, the fans are very audible now, but still nothing to complain about considering traditional laptops go to like 50, 56, 57 dB. This is barely touching 40 or 42 decibels. So from a gameplay perspective, it's awesome. I think pretty good performance from CSGO here on the RTX 5050, certainly playable. Okay, so we'll hop out of this now. We'll hop into another game here and show you what the performance looks like and continue evaluating the RTX 5050. Alright, so for our next game here, we have, this is the finals, so let's go over and check our settings. We'll go over to video here, so running at 1080p resolution once again, DLSS is turned off, VSync is turned off, reflex is turned on, and frame rate limit, we're going to leave it to unlimited, and DLSS is, what? It says disabled. Right, okay, yeah. And we have everything here on the low preset, so we'll try to play with this. And looks like, can we turn off global illumination? So ray tracing is not enabled and we don't care about energy saving, so let's get into a match here. So as I run around aimlessly here, what? Who was that? What is he doing? What kind of gameplay is this? Wow, talk about high pace. That was rough. Oh, come on. Okay, so let's have a look at here. About 78 FPS on the lowest preset. about 35 watts on the GPU. The laptop's running pretty silent. I have the volume turned up here now a quarter of the way, so you guys can hear that the sound is definitely coming through. You can easily tune out the fan noise at this volume level. Okay. Now let's see what happens if we enable DLSS. DLSS enabled. Oh, 4x. Wow, we have multi-frame generation in this game. Really now. And this is the convolution model, I believe. Yeah. So now let's see, with DLSS kicked in. Oh. Well, the fact that we're already getting pretty much above 60 FPS, 1% lows, means that this gameplay is going to be hecka smooth. Sorry guys, I really have no idea what I'm doing in this game, but as you can see here, enabling 4x multi-frame gen has bumped us up to nearly 200 FPS on the 5050. The visual fidelity does not seem to have degraded on initial look. I mean, still smooth. Our 1% lows are well into the triple digits, so this thing is very, very smooth on the RTX 5050. But with multi-frame gen, we're playing 200 FPS on a budget laptop. It has to be impressive. I mean, in any case, there you have it. So yeah, enable multi-frame generation and go nuts with this game. This is actually fantastic and great performance for esports gaming. If you're playing the finals, the RTX 5050 and the LOQ 15, yup, you're gonna have a good time. Let's continue our testing of the RTX 5050 here with some esports style competitive games. Here we are in Fortnite with all of the latest updates and everything for July of 2025 as we wrap up the month. But while we're waiting here to jump into an actual game, let's just have a quick peek at the settings here. So we've used the automatic graphics adjustment from the game when you boot up, running at 1080p resolution with the FPS set to unlimited and VSync off. We're currently using the auto set profile, so that means we're pretty much low graphics for everything here, and all of the advanced stuff is turned off. So we're going to continue in the game here, and we'll see what the frame rate looks like. We're already getting about 200, what is this, 220? There's a lot of variability here, as we can see. There's a big range, so we're seeing anywhere between 150 to 200 plus frames per second, but inconsistent, which is not ideally what we want. So okay, so our first kill as we start out this match here. So far so good. We got ourselves a couple of weapons. Let's swap over to a machine gun. It's my preferred weapon in this game. But anyway, I am not the best Fortnite player, nor any esports for that matter. So we're just doing here to demonstrate the frame rates. The visuals are pretty good. So what we'll do now is at about and actually the temperatures on the CPU and GPU are both doing pretty well, I would say. 78C on the i5 and about 76, 75C on the GPU as well. And we're running at, wait a minute, I saw here somewhere about DirectX 11. Yes, we're running on performance mode. Okay, and now we've booted into DX12 mode. So give you a quick peek. DirectX 12, unlimited frame rate, VSync off, 1080p resolution, and we're running currently in the very low preset using TAA, and all of the other nanite and shadows and everything is turned off, and of course no ray tracing is enabled currently. So let's see how this fares in terms of performance. We're still around 80 degrees. The fact that we can already do triple digit frame rates or near triple digit frame rates is actually a pretty good indicator here of this game's playability on this budget. I guess you can say it's budget oriented GPU. It's not budget, I would say entry level, let's just say that, because it's not really budget considering the prices of laptops these days. Almost a pinned 60 FPS experience, which is ideally what you want for that smooth, buttery smooth gameplay. The 1% lows really factor into how quickly your GPU is able to render and push those frame rates to the GPU, and that's ultimately going to determine how well you perform and how stable your frame rate is and how smooth your gameplay is going to appear. Yeah, now let's see if we can crank up some of the settings. How badly can we hurt this GPU? So we've got low, let's crank it up to epic. This is gonna hurt. Not that bad actually. After a little bit of hiccups, we're getting 90-ish FPS, still triple digits, even in epic mode. Keep in mind DLSS is turned off right now, and our 1% lows have dropped, so we're certainly not going to have that stable 60 FPS plus figure for our 1% lows, but it's not that far off. Let's see now if we enable DLSS, can we get it to about, we'll use balanced mode. I think balance is fairly acceptable. It's a very small compromise in terms of the actual performance. Still about 96 FPS. Yeah, our 1% lows are now have crept up a little bit. We're very close to 60 FPS. So a little bit of a dip there. Oh, there's another dip to 40. 84 FPS, but you can see here that at 1% lows, goodbye to that 60 FPS because Epic is definitely draining. Okay, into a game now after another restart here. So we've now swapped into Nanite for the geometry here. So let's hop in, have another look at the settings. Again, 1080p, FPS unlimited, VSync is off, running in DX12 mode. And we're now using DLSS balanced, of course, with Nanite turned on. And we're still in the Epic preset with everything turned up to Epic with the exception of hardware ray tracing. So we'll see how this fares in terms of playability. Our 1% low there was 9 FPS. That's not a good sign. Now another thing we'll do here is enable the extreme mode, because right now I'm running in the performance profile using the Legion Space software for administering this laptop. All right, we'll just hide out here for a moment. We'll talk about the performance here. So we're getting about 80 degrees C on both the CPU and GPU. So now what we're going to do is hop over to Legion Space here, and we're going to go over to custom, click on the little thingy, and enable our extreme mode. So this one here, we should be able to push this to much higher power levels for both the CPU and the GPU. And we can see here that immediately our i5 goes right up to 100C. It literally hits that ceiling. So it's hitting its thermal limit, which means we're getting as much power as possible to that i5. We can see here now 75 watts to that CPU, almost hitting 80 watts in certain cases. But with that said, about 50 to 60 watts on that 50/50, and we're getting close to 60 FPS in terms of our average frame rates. But 1% lows, just not possible to get that 60 FPS magical figure that we'd love to see. So I think the last thing I want to show off is what happens if we turn this down to, say, medium, because that I think is a more reasonable, as I mentioned earlier, a more reasonable gameplay preset. Nobody would actually play this in Epic, especially if you're playing even more than just absolutely casually. And this game, so let's drop down, where's our preset here? Oh, here we go. So we'll drop this down to medium. Apply. Immediate difference in the smoothness of the gameplay and the actual frame rate. Well, we'll see how that reflects. We're in the triple digits. We're getting into the triple digits now with Nanite enabled. DLSS set to balance mode. If we look here, also the temperatures though are much hotter. I can feel the heat buildup growing along the keyboard deck certainly. Yeah, so we can see here that it's still not stable. The frame rates in this game particularly are all over the place, unlike what we saw with CS, Counter Strike, or we saw with even with the finals. It was very high frame rates here. So there you have it. I think we'll wrap it up there. Obviously we can continue until the cows come home testing all of these settings, but certainly the conclusion is that with the 50/50 you can certainly play, and you can tune it of course to your liking, but you can certainly play Fortnite and almost even do it a little bit casually or competitively, or competitive casual. What would you even call that? Amateur competition level. Oh, come on. Jeez, that was tense. That was also tense. Okay, that'll be it for the testing of Fortnite.